The opposite of mono is not stereo. It's anti-mono, and stereo is everything in between. Hi, I'm Jamashi. Welcome to the channel. We're going to be covering some experimental concepts in audio production and music theory, so if you're into that, be sure to like and subscribe. It probably won't make you a better musician, but it will make you a lot more fun at parties. Now, you might be reacting to my previous statement with shock or disgust. You might be thinking to yourself, that sounds made up. What on earth is anti-mono? But I guarantee you that by the end of this video, I will have converted you to the dark side, and you will be a believer in anti-mono. So let's start from the beginning. In the beginning, there was nothing. And then God said, let there be a left channel and let there be a right channel. And thus, there was stereo audio. Now, a key concept with stereo audio is that similarity equals centrality and difference equals depth. In other words, similarities between the channels create centrality, whereas differences between the channels create a sense of depth. Listen to this kick drum. This kick is right dead center, and as you can see, the left and the right channel are the exact same. When we add a wide synth, there are now subtle differences between the left and the right channel. However, the contour of the kick is still very much apparent and is still shared between the two. Thus, the two channels are made up of similarities and differences, which combine to form the entire stereo image. This brings us to mid-side processing, aka separating the similarities from the differences. Let's take a closer look at our left and right channels. We can see that there are areas of similarity, where the waves move in the same direction, and areas of difference, where the waves move in opposite directions. Now let's take a look at those amplitudes. Looking at the amplitudes, we can see that if we add the two channels together, the similarities tend to reinforce one another, while the differences tend to cancel out. Conversely, if we subtract the two channels, we see that the similarities cancel each other out and the differences reinforce one another. Thus, adding the channels isolates the similarities, while subtracting the channels isolates the differences. Additionally, instead of thinking about it as subtracting the right channel from the left channel, we can also think about it as adding a polarity inverted right channel to the left channel. It yields the same results, and this way of thinking about it will be more helpful going forward. So we add together our left channel and our right channel. Additionally, we add together our left channel and our polarity inverted right channel. This gives us the isolated similarities and the isolated differences. Now, because we added signals together, the summed signal is going to be clipping pretty badly. So that's why we're going to divide the amplitude of the summed signals by 2. This is because the maximum amount of reinforcement that can happen is 2 times the maximum amplitude, and that would be if both the left and right channels hit the maximum amplitude at the exact same time. Therefore, by dividing the summed signals by 2, we can ensure that no clipping occurs. The similarity signal and the difference signal are called mid and side, respectively. Take a listen to what the isolated mid and side sound like. You can definitely hear that mid contains all of the central mono elements. You have the kick and the bass very prominent in the mid signal, while the side, you can hear just like the snare drum reverb and the sort of floating pad that's going on. It's very much corresponding to the width of the audio. I don't know, I just think it's very cool to listen to them in isolation. But there's something missing here, isn't there? I mean, when we listened to side just now, it didn't sound wide at all. It sounded mono. But that makes sense. I mean, it's a single audio signal. How can it have width? Yet side is supposed to be the width. It sounds like we need a truer representation of side to fully understand how it yields stereo width. To get a truer representation of side, we must first ask the question, how do we get from mid-side back to left-right? That is, how do we use mid and side to recreate the original stereo image? We know that adding the left channel and the right channel gives you mid. And we also know that adding the left channel and a polarity inverted right channel gives you side. So if we add mid and side, the right channel and its polar opposite will cancel each other out, leaving only the left channel. Therefore, mid plus side equals left. And what if we were to do mid minus side? In other words, add a polarity inverted side to mid. Well, this polarity inverted side can be thought of as being made up of a polarity inverted left channel and a normal right channel. So, when you add this polarity inverted side to mid, now the left channel and its polar opposite will cancel out, leaving only the right channel. Therefore, mid plus a polarity inverted side will give you right. And just to point out, we're seeing it the way it is now because we originally decided to derive side as left minus right. If we were to originally derive it as right minus left, then we'd see just the exact opposite. We would see mid plus side equals right and mid minus side equals left. So it would just be flipped, but the same idea applies. So now we can think of the left and right channel as being made up of the same mid signal and polar opposite side signals. So this is how mid and side recombine to recreate the stereo image, which means if we want a true representation of side, we just get rid of the mid, and all that's left are the two polar opposite side signals. Let's give that a listen. That true representation of side is an example of something that is anti-mono. As we know, mono is where both of the channels are the exact same, so there's all mid and no side. Anti-mono is where the two channels are direct polar opposites, so there's all side and no mid. So we have mono, anti-mono, mono, anti-mono, mono, anti-mono, you get it. And what's more, you don't have to derive side to achieve anti-mono. You can literally just take any mono audio, polarity invert one of the channels, and you have an anti-mono version of that audio. Take a listen. I can even make. So we have mono, where the two channels are totally the same, and anti-mono, where the two channels are totally different. Thus, stereo lies in between mono and anti-mono, in which the channels have similarities and differences, a mix of mid and side. And an audio's position along the mono-anti-mono spectrum determines its perceived width. To demonstrate this, I am going to move a song along the mono-anti-mono spectrum. We're going to be moving from all mid no side to all side no mid. This opens the door to some interesting experimentation. What if one channel is normal, has both mid and side, but the other channel only has side? Let's take a listen to that. I didn't really like that, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it sounded weird because all of the elements that are supposed to be central are obviously no longer central because they're only in one channel. The mid is only in one channel. So it was just weird hearing like the kick drum only in one ear. But what if we create a situation where one channel has both mid and side, and the other channel only has mid? And by alternating which channel has the side information, we can create this kind of swirling effect where the stereo elements appear to move around the listener. Check it out. Now that was cool, but I probably wouldn't use this effect in this way. It was pretty distracting, and it kinda took away from the energy of the song. However, I can imagine that there are actually a lot of situations in which this swirling effect would improve the music. So I think it's a pretty cool thing to have in the old toolbox. That's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. I think it's a pretty interesting way to think about stereo width as this spectrum between mono and anti-mono, and I think it opens the door for some experimentation with crazy stereo effects and things like that. But let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter. Okay, bye.